Welcome back to the Sloppy Horror Podcast. As always, I am your host and your scary movie companion. Someone you could rely on for some spooky shit, at least, every Monday. Every Monday you can rely on it, but I'm here for you people, okay? I'm here for you folks, but I'm not the only one. I am not the only one, because there's a producer that is in this building, and believe it or not, he's the best producer in the whole entire world, and he's my good friend, my brother, Ozark Mark. Ozark Mark, what say you?
Hey there! What's going on, you fucks? Welcome back to the one and only Sloppy Horror Podcast. It's good to see you again. I'm glad you're back. Well, not seeing you, but talking into your ear hole with some fantastic podcast and entertainment right up in your ass. Now, if this is your first time here, it might be tight, but we're going to loosen it up with no lube, because that's what the fuck we do. It's the Sloppy Road to Halloween, and we got a great movie for you today.
RFK is in the building.
We got a great movie for you. I think it's a great one. I don't know how horror nerds really feel about this movie, but I think I know that the general public loves this movie.
It's divided.
I have no idea, but I'm sure you're going to tell us all about that. Why don't you tell us what we're talking about?
Scream Quattro? Scream Quattro? Scream 4.
I don't know if that's it. I ain't feeling either of those. Those are good ones. I don't know. This doesn't fit.
Scream 4.
That might be it.
Scream for me.
Oh my God.
That's what they were going for. Scream for me.
He's gonna stab everybody. Oh God.
Oh, I would scream.
There's a lot of stabbings in this movie.
Oh, he's too fit. I can't get away from him.
Talking about Scream 4 here. And, yeah. Why don't you, continue?
Well, I will do so. But first, before we get started, before we take our pants off, I need you guys to help us out and go follow.
We weren't supposed to take our pants off yet?
You're fine, because we're in the studio. But for all the people, before they get those, the belts out of all the loops, or, sometimes, when you double knot the sweatpants, you're like, why the fuck did I do that? Why can't I get this knot out? It's the hardest knots in the world, dude.
It's when you pull it too tight accidentally.
It's like thread lock on that shit, dude.
You need a piece of tweezers to block that bitch out, man. At that point, you just leave it. You're like, I hope I never gain weight, or I can never wear these pants again.
So if you're working on one of those, that's fine. Keep working. But while you're working, I want you guys to take out your phones, your computers, your PCs, whatever you got. I need you guys to follow Sloppy Horror Podcast on YouTube. Why? Because it's completely for free. And B, because I am not a channel. Mark and I are common men. We are blue-collar men. If I could drop $10,000 on this show, I wouldn't. Or, I would put it in microphones and different things like that. But I'm not paying for it to play, because then I feel that's cheap. And that's not what we are here. What we are is genuine. So you guys can genuinely help us out by subscribing to the YouTube. Also, what you can do is pull out your phone and give them 5-star ratings on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, because that also helps us out. And just a review. It doesn't have to be like a worded review. Like there's like the stars, like, or, give it stars. That's a review. Like, that's fine. If you're not feeling like Shakespeare, you don't have to put anything down. But folks, I can't stress enough. The Sloppy Horror Road to Halloween 2024 t-shirts are only going to be available through the end of this month. So you can obviously find those. There's a description in every one of our videos for, the merchandise. Get you one of these t-shirts. Get you something else. Let everybody know that you guys are fans of the show, because this is, if you are a weekly listener, I want you guys to know how unique you guys are. We have a decent fan base, and we appreciate you guys, but we're not millions and millions of listeners. So if you guys are proud representatives of the show, let everybody know. Rock the fucking shirt. Now, preliminaries are done.
Okay, good. Let's go.
Everybody's pants can be off. Now,
yes. Let it breathe.
Folks, we are talking about Scream 4, and this is the last movie directed by my favorite director, Wes Craven. Horror director specifically. Well, probably director of all time. Wes Craven's great. This movie in particular, I didn't hate upon release. I don't hate it now. I didn't hate it upon release, but here's what's going to happen to you. Here's what happened. All right. There's a weird psychological thing that happens. So obviously the Texas Chainsaw Massacre happened 2003. The remake, it started this massive boom of remakes. It put all of our favorite franchises on the sequel game. And the fucked up part was we all leaned into it. They really got us millennials hard, dude, because they went after our childhood. And it's like, if you pull up to like an alcoholic and you're like, hey man, you want this bottle of liquor? That guy's really happy. And like, do you feel good about giving him that liquor? Like, I mean, maybe a little swig or whatever, but like enough to fucking kill him? I don't know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But that's what production companies and everything did to us. And in hindsight, it's fucked. Because these comic book movies, all of these franchises, they really got watered out and played out. And I wanted these things at this time frame. I wanted these things. Not necessarily Scream Part 4, because I am a trilogy purist. It was the franchise that was supposed to be the trilogy.
Well, that's what happens with every trilogy, dude.
I know.
It happens every time. Once you go outside of a trilogy, most of the time it goes downhill.
We still got The Godfather.
That's what happens most of the time.
That's what happens when you... So... I know. That's what happens with all. But Scream was the chosen one. Scream was the chosen one. It was meta, right? It was meta. And what do we mean by meta? It was a movie that was self-aware of other horror movies and kind of aware of itself. Almost in a spoof sort of way. But by the time we get here in 2011... the level of meta is turned up to a level where it's like unstoppable. It's like a runaway diesel engine, dude. There's no stopping it. Like you cannot stop this fucking thing. It's gone too far. Because the original, the first Scream, it was clever. Because we had never seen anything like that, because we were used to our sleepaway camps and our Friday the 13th. So that was a 90s, a new generation of like, hey, we're still dumb kids, but we're not as dumb as the previous decade. We're aware of certain films, and it's fun to mention those inside of a horror film. It's kind of a nice little wink to the crowd, and it was fun. It was cerebral, and it was Wes Craven. And I'm not saying that this isn't. The level of meta in Scream 4 is just, it's gone too far. It has to be mentioned in every fucking scene. And then also, there has to be a playback or a pay homage scene, if you will. They have to pay homage in every scene to the original. Like there has to be a little like, oh, did you see it? And it's almost to the point where it's insulting to the audience. Like where that's the whole thing the movie is. I loved a lot of this movie, and we're going to get into a lot of parts of the movie I do love. It's not a bad, horrible movie, but man, the level of meta is kind of cringe. And I know Scream is built on meta, but really going back and watching the original trilogy, because that's what it was supposed to be. Now, some people will obviously really knock Scream 3. I love Scream 3. I understand that it was a different story, but Columbine happened, and then they, wrote the story different because there was supposed to be some murders throughout the school. But it was supposed to go back to a high school. So, Scream 1, we're in high school, then she goes to college, then we're back in high school. That's a weird jump, if you ask me. So I thought they landed the plane well. I loved the Roman story. I thought Roman made sense. He was a fucking adult who convinced those two young boys, like, hey, her mom fucked your dad. Should kill her. Blah, blah, blah. Like, it made sense. He was the mastermind. Like, whether you agreed or not, it all fit in to me and many other people. And in part 3, it wasn't all meta. It started with Cotton Weary getting stabbed in the beginning. That was heavy, dude. He was a big character in the franchise. At first, you didn't trust him, and then, he was likable. And then part 3 happens, and it's just like he's dead. And you're like, oh, fuck. Like, there was a lot to that movie. Sydney's mom is like the ghost popping up. So I really enjoyed it. And it was, everyone remembers Randy's monologue in it where he like recorded himself, even though he was dead. And it was the whole preaching of the trilogy. That's what Wes Craven said. It's what everybody said. That's what was promised upon. Hey, we know these other franchises run wild for profit's sake and they do this and that and they don't care about continuity. But we're not that. We're aware of each other, and that's why we're giving you this perfect trilogy. And here we are talking about Scream 7 coming out. And that's frustrating to me. And what's even more frustrating is they think that they dial up this meta, and they're like, you're just like the people they mention in these new movies. You just don't get it. It's like, you can't make jokes about people joking about your movie in the movie to like clear yourself from, any kind of hate. Now, 4, out of all of the newer movies, the newer trilogy, 4 is the best. I like a lot of the actors in this. I love Emma Roberts. I love Rory Culkin, Macaulay Culkin's little brother. He's great, dude. Like, he crushes it.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is... Let me give it to you from my perspective, because you're definitely giving the horror nerd perspective on it, which I respected and makes a lot of sense. I think, but this is just, it's another Scream movie. I feel like this one was made because people wanted more of Scream. And I think they did a good job of it because they're making it, from what I remember, the new age versus the original and shit, and that's the whole thing. You got the new characters, you got the old characters in that, which is good too.
I know.
But it's also a Scream movie. It's got all the elements of it. It's got the mystery of it. You don't know who the killer is. It's got stabbings and blood and guts. And it's got beautiful people in it. It's
and
got the
Wes
phone
Craven.
calls. And it's Wes Craven. But it was a Scream movie to me. I understand how, it's not the trilogy, but they kind of, it's more like a for us, by us. This was like for all the Scream fans. Be like, yeah, here you go. Here's another one with new people and the original people and all that stuff. It's still funny. It still delivers like a Scream movie to me. Because, I mean, Scream's its own category. Everybody loves Scream. Because it applies to fucking almost everybody. There's something in there everybody can love.
Yeah, especially our generation of folks. Now, I know people that don't like it for certain reasons, but for it, generally love. Sidney Prescott, one of the coolest final girls of all time. Neve Campbell, hot as fuck, and just kicking ass all the time. I love it. But as we get to this point, not all the way in 4, but especially in the new ones, where it's just like, I'm Sidney Prescott. Of course I've got a fucking gun. Ooh, she said it. Like, there's so many, like, Marvel fucking one-liner jokes that are just so, like, it's just too much for me, where it's just, like, a little over the top. And I know that she had some of those liners, and there were movie lines that were added, like, obviously, to have the movie within the movie, even in the original. But there are parts where it just gets a little cringe, where it's just like, just play the fucking movie out. Like, if you want to have a part where you pay, homage to the original, like, that's, fuck yeah, do that. But make it almost hard to spot. Like, don't give me some obvious bullshit. But
some people like obvious, man.
Well, what it is, probably younger audiences, too. That,
well,
like,
sure.
Which I understand, and I totally get. But because you are correct. Beautiful people. Here's the deal, though. Here's the one part that is, you can tell Scream 4 was wrote by somebody like me. It was Aaron Kruger who wrote it. You could tell it was wrote by somebody like myself. You just write these like super 11 baddies that are just sitting around talking about like deep horror conversations. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah, I know.
I'd have 500 children. I'd have 500 kids, dude. I would hit, like, you know what I mean? Like, I would be... Stop. All right?
Get out of here
like,
with
there's
that
just
shit.
Giant raver parties for these, like, horror communities. Now, I go to horror community parties, but here's the deal. I got to spend money to them. I got to travel to them. And, like, we're antisocial people. Like, we're not, to get us out of our basement usually requires some kind of event. Like, like this. And, I'm sorry, I don't mean to at y'all. We're just kind of people that are like that. But there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm telling you, they trick you. And it's like not even like they're, because hot girls like horror. But I know, and what's funny is there's going to be hot girls within the horror community that hear this like, no. You ladies are fucking unicorns. Like, you don't just, like, exist out in, like, normality. Like, nobody's talking deep complexities of, like, what Wes Craven was going for and The Hills Have Eyes. That's not happening. Like, we're not just getting, like, baddies giving you horror trivia, like, who was the first Leatherface? Oh, I'm sorry, you want to see my dick? Like, is that what you just said? Do you want to fuck? Like, that, it would get, like, aggressive. Like, it would get violent. Like, I wouldn't, like, it would, that's a peacock mating call. Like,
is that what they do? I thought they spread their feathers and shit.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if they make those noises too, but that's what I would do. Like, that's what I would think was happening. It would be like the fullest that I could get. Like, you know, when Jeepers Creepers had the things that popped out of it, that's probably what would happen to me.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that doesn't exist. Like, I need checks and balances. When I go to my wife and I'm like, do you notice the mask difference from 4 and 5? Like, I kind of like 4, even almost. She's like, cool.
I'm like, can you take the trash out now?
Thanks, babe. Like, like I needed leveling, because if not, I would be way too deep. I would be way too. If I'd probably be killing people like one of these weirdos in the movies. So it's like, I'm not. So I get checks and balances, and that's what I love. You need a little bit of that in life, but I do love how they wrote the fucking baddies in this movie. Like, oh, okay, that's what's happening. Oh, okay. That's what we're doing. Just horror trivia.
Bullshit.
And
bullshit.
And there were questions with some ambiguity, like, right? Like, he did ask, like, what kicked off the slasher craze? That's an ambiguous question, because I feel like your basic audience is going to say Psycho. Some people will deep cut you with, you know, Peeping Tom like he did. But, like, if we're going to be fucking fair, my G, if we're going to be fair, Black Christmas, all right? I understand that there's a POV shot in Peeping Tom, but there were POV shots in fucking movies, just not horror movies of that extent. And it wasn't even like an all-the-way horror movie. It was just a thriller. It was a thriller. But Black Christmas is really, come on, like, stop it. And let's say the Italian Giallos are what really fucking set it off, man. So let's chill. I would have gotten an argument with them right there. I would have called a shit out. Like, you're a little bitch. Like, all right? They couldn't have handled it. But I digress. Now, we got a lot more to talk about, but we do need the segment to happen where we fill shoes. Fill the shoes, walk the path of the wicked. Unleash the fury, let the chaos reign. My shoes are filled now.
No, they're not. They're empty. I need you to fill them.
I felt like that's just how the song would go.
Need you to fill them with your ooze.
All right.
Yeah.
The ooze is returning, fellas.
Give me the ooze in my shoes.
Ivan Ooze.
Like Blue's Clues, you know what I'm saying?
Blue's Clues with that Ivan Ooze. What you gonna do?
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, so Scream 4. The release date on this was April 15th, 2011. Number 1 in the underground charts was the Lyrical Assassins Bureau.
Yeah.
Now, that's just right out of the way. Now, number 2. This was a wild and wacky year. It was a wild and wacky year. There was like more than like 360 tornadoes that fucking happened. I don't know if you remember that. Like
probably that was one of the years I got like a 50% chance of getting a tornado on my birthday. It's happened like 8 times.
The Green River serial killer confessed his murders. That had happened.
Okay.
The Fukushima disaster, largest earthquake ever in Japan, caused that nuclear reactor to leak its ooze.
Yeah.
Wasn't good.
It's a lot of ooze.
Tell you something that was cool, though. May 2nd of 2011. May 2nd.
Huh? What?
May 2nd.
What about it?
A little bit after this movie came out. People were still going to go Scream 4, and they got little texts on their Blackberries that said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. We killed Osama bin Laden."
Oh.
SEAL Team 6 came in and fucked his world up.
Yep.
Okay? Take that, bin Laden. It was also the year that Steve Jobs died. Okay? Steve Jobs did make it. But, you know what else was happening? Oprah Winfrey.
Mm-hmm.
In case you were needing
what other Oprah is there?
I don't know. Probably some poor unfortunate person that was named Oprah, like because of the show.
Oprah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oprah did her final episode.
Oh no.
Do you remember Charlie Sheen meltdown when he's talking about tiger's blood and all that shit?
I think
he's
so.
like, I'm a champion, like when he's all coked up. And
I think so.
that was around this time.
Good for him.
Same year. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out that year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A lot of Harry Potter people out there, I've noticed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But we could talk a little bit about some of the movies. Rio was the #1 movie when this dropped. Little cartoon bird.
Yeah, with the parrots or whatever.
Yep. Insidious
And
was
they're dancing around.
Yeah, Insidious was in the top 10 at the time as well.
That was pretty good. I like that.
Mm-hmm. And Limitless, do you remember that movie?
Yeah, when he takes the little pill, then he's like limitless. I got it.
He's got no limits.
Yeah.
There were limits,
He's
but now there's
essentially
less.
he's essentially limitless.
Essentially, he is limitless.
You know, the limits, they're gone.
Once there was limits,
They
now
cease
there's
to
less.
exist. Next.
Now, Bridesmaid came out that year too. That may be the funniest girl horror comedy.
That actually is pretty funny. I remember having to watch that, and it's not bad.
It's one of the funniest girl comedies
It
ever.
is, and then, it ain't bad. I wouldn't be mad if somebody put that on. If I was with a broad and she put that on, I wouldn't be mad about that.
Yes. Now, here's what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about some songs.
Okay.
#1, some bad music.
I bet it is.
#1 song, E.T. by Katy Perry.
Awful.
Awful.
Next.
I don't hate Rihanna, don't like this song. S&M.
Horrible. Next.
Just can't get enough, Black Eyed Peas.
Keep going.
Fuck You by CeeLo Green. I Was Born This Way by Lady Gaga. Look at Me by Chris Brown. Down on Me by 50 Cent and Jeremiah. And then that was the year that Adele started to blow up, and she had the role in the Deep. And for a woman so talented with an incredible voice and very talented, I'm not a fan of her music, and I mean that respectfully. And I love Minnie. I would take Alicia Keys over her personally.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But I mean that not a knock. There's not one song where I'm like, ooh, I'm putting that
Doesn't matter,
on.
man. That's opinion based anyway.
So let's wrap up the Fill the Shoes with our sports champions of 2011. So that way you guys have some perspective.
Okay.
2011, your Super Bowl champions were the Green Bay Packers.
The Packers.
Your Major League Baseball World Series champions of 2011 were the St. Louis Cardinals.
The Cardinals.
The NBA champions 2011 were the Dallas Mavericks.
The Mavericks.
That's when Dirk got one. And then your NHL Stanley Cup winners of 2011 were the Boston Bruins.
Okay. All right. Well, I am filled up, laced up, ready to go.
So you guys feel like you're in 2011?
Yeah.
So
It's 2011.
I'm going to give you a little brief synopsis of Scream 4. Some time has passed. A lot of time has passed. Everybody's living their life now. Dewey and Gail are married. Sydney's living life. She wrote one book. She's not trying to play off of all of it, but she wanted to write one book and be done with it. She doesn't want to be famous. As a matter of fact, the movie emphasizes that because she's like, fires her publicist who's kind of money hungry. And she's like, yeah, it's not what we're doing here. I wanted to write this book, and that's what I'm doing. But murders start happening in Woodsboro again, and they are focused kind of around Sydney's young cousin. And her name is Jill. She is played by motherfucking Emma Roberts. And all these murders start happening, kind of mimicking the first movie, playing out that way. And then we have all the typical characters like that represent the characters from the first one. You have your Randy, like your film student kids. You have the whole layout, and it's kind of really just played again, but added up. Spoilers if you haven't seen the movie, the unmasking at the end ends up being Rory Culkin, Macaulay Culkin's little brother, who is a great fucking actor. That guy's such a good actor. he ends up being one of the killers, and but he really just kind of gets simped into doing it by Emma Roberts, who is essentially jealous of her cousin Sydney, who has all this fame, and she has none. So she's trying to set up all the murders, kind of like Billy and Stu did, where they were trying to make it look like they were innocent. But it backfires, just like it did with them. There's a point where they both end up in the hospital. Big skirmish happens, and Sydney and Gail, they kill. Well, they don't kill her. There's a little ambiguity, but they take her out,
Mm-hmm.
So, in a nutshell, that's what's happening. We have all of the Scream components where they give you red herrings throughout the movies, like where you're like, ooh, it might be this guy, and they do a great job at that.
It's like a Scooby-Doo movie.
Mm-hmm. The one bad part about the Screams, because they're so rewatchable, they're very rewatchable, but I'm saying, like, after the mystery has been peeled off, like, that will never be there again. And you can never watch it like that again, because, like, and you're, like, watching from a different perspective. You're like, I know now, and, like, you're looking for signs.
Mm-hmm.
And which is cool, too. Like, it adds a different element to it, but always very jealous of a first time watching a Scream movie. Was this your first time watching 4?
No, I
feel like you went to the theaters to see it with us.
Yeah, I remember seeing it before. I forgot most of it, but I've definitely seen it before. Whoever the short-haired blonde girl is, I've been lusting over her ever since I saw the movie.
She's not a little girl, but that was the little girl from Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Hayden something.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. She's 35 years old. I'm 33 years old. I can say that.
Hayden Panettiere, I think is how you say her name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, she, especially because she had all that horror knowledge and shit. You're like, stop the shit, lady. You want to get pregnant?
Yeah, I know.
You want to die?
Face down, ass up, let's go.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then, like, all of, like, that's the only problem, that it's exaggerated in some of these movies. Because, like, ladies they're not punchline generally like that. They'll make you do things like that, but they won't, like, address it like that. They'll expect you to know.
But it's got a superstar cast, like, from everybody. Even the cops that, the one, what's that black guy's name? He's
Anthony Anderson.
Yeah.
And then Adam Brody.
He's hilarious. He's, he was in, I always remember him from Scary Movie 3.
And Malibu's Most Wanted.
Exactly. I mean, he's in so much shit. Famous guy.
His death is one of my favorites in the whole Scream franchise, to be honest with you. It's fucking brutal, but funny. You get everything. It's brutal, it's funny, and then, like, I don't know. I'm sure I have, if I recall, but you don't often see somebody stabbed right through their fucking forehead.
No.
Like, that doesn't happen. And he was leaking.
And then get up and walk around for a little bit and then just die.
Yeah, dude, that, like, you're expecting a throat slit. You're expecting a stab to the torso. Like, a fucking stab to the forehead. Just.
Damn.
Like, that's
not a good way to go.
No, dude, like, not at all. Like, that was a funny one, but also brutal all at the same time. So that's really one of my favorites from the whole franchise.
Yeah, the stabbing through the mailbox is good too.
Yep, yeah, that's fun.
But there's a lot of stabbings in here. So
yeah, there's over a dozen deaths in here for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. Even though I've discussed my love for the trilogy. If I'm just looking at 4 subjectively, if I'm looking at it subjectively, it is a good movie, but it is a victim of its time. You can notice that with movies of that time frame. Like, I remember listening to those movies, and then it'd be like music parts in the movie where you're like, ooh, yeah, and then, like, you go back and it's like, it sounds like an AI song. And you're like, oh, that was like shitty music. Like, that was not good music. Like, and, like, you understand, like, why some of the 80s slashers are dated because of the music on them and stuff. But you're like, when that came out, that was the shit. That was the style of music. But there are parts that aged like that, and it's just like, oh, shit, dude. That wasn't that long ago.
Mm-mm.
We getting old, bro.
Yeah.
Getting old. It's like 13-year-old movie now, though.
Yep. 13 years old. Once I was 13 years old.
I would smack that boy. I'll be like, I don't know how old you are, but you better write a song because you're not making it to another.
No. Once I was 7 years old. That's the only part I know, and every time it annoys the shit out of me every time I hear it. So I don't know who does it. I don't know who the artist is, and whoever the artist is,
He's
I
smackable.
hope his GPS dies when he's on a road trip.
Yeah, and he gets the wrong turn people to come out.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, but I want to learn some more interesting things about this movie here. Welcome to the What Do You Know here. This is a segment here where we're here to tell you something that you may or may not know about this movie. Now, this is your first time here. We're going to tell you things we know about this movie. Now, you may know what we know, you may not know what we know, but if you know what we know, you can have it. Damn you. Seeing you take a drink through it just fucking killed me.
I like
Anyways,
this.
you know what's happening here. So why don't you tell me something that you may or may not know about this movie?
Looky. Now, I'm a man who's subtle. I like a little subtlety. Don't get me wrong. I like a nice homage, but I like when it's subtle. And there's, parts that are subtle in this movie that I enjoy.
Okay.
Now, in the first Scream movie, when they're at the party, you can see a VHS tape of the movie Clicks. Obviously, Miramax, that's where, the Kevin Smith movies, he was making those. Same label, so it makes sense, but, Clerks is good movies. I love those movies. Well, in this movie, when they're at Kirby's house, you can see the VHS tape of Clerks too. So, that was a nice little subtle homage that I really enjoyed.
Just a tip.
Yeah, just a tip, and it's nice, and you don't notice it if you don't notice it, but, it's just there.
That's all you need.
I like that.
That's good.
You got some facts about the Scream 4.
Yeah, I got actually 2.
Oh.
I got 2 for you. We divided 4 by 2, and I got 2 for you.
Okay.
So the first fact I got for you is this is the only Scream movie in the franchise that does not feature the song By His Red Rod Hand.
Boom.
Boom. It's a good song. I like that song.
I do too.
They should have put it in there.
That's interesting. I
But
didn't think about that till now, but it's not in there.
But they did not put it in there.
That's weird. They
Yeah.
should have put it in there.
So here's another one for your ass. There's another homage that you did not talk about here.
Oh.
So, now, if you go in around the 18-minute mark of the movie,
Okay.
and you look at the background in the school, there is a sculpture of the one and only Henry Winkler, the Fonz.
Hey.
He's in there. There's a statue of his head because he was the principal, and he's dead. So they made a sculpture for him, and that's what you get for your life's work as a principal in a school. If you die, you get a head statue.
I wish I could get a head
Hey,
statue.
look, everybody likes more head.
They do. What does everybody want?
Head. I need head.
What is that? You could say that to kids our age that watch wrestling. That's just like a weird. You could yell that while you were at work if you had that. Like, you wouldn't. Like whatever.
Yeah, more head.
It's
More head. The world needs more head, if you ask me.
All of us.
But that's just my opinion.
We all do.
Yeah. So, yeah, those are my facts. Do you know any more facts here?
I don't know any. I think that's it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think that's all I got.
You're positive?
Yeah, HIV.
Okay, well, we're gonna go now. Goodbye.
All right now, Mark. All right. Now, I do have questions. You've seen a lot of Scream movies. I know you've seen 4 of them. What's your favorite Scream? What Screams resonate with you the most? Or let me say this. What's your favorite Scream, and who's your favorite Scream killers? Or killer?
Well, I've only seen the first 4, so don't judge me.
Only 4 worth seeing, in my opinion.
But probably the first one, Billy and Stu. I know that's a cop-out, and people probably have different answers, but those 2 are the best. That's the best one.
I like
to
it.
me.
I like them a lot.
Yeah.
I thought Roman was the most menacing with him having the master plan. It's kind of like same reason I thought Freddy won Freddy versus Jason. Like, he was the mastermind behind it. Like, he was the one pulling the fucking strings. So, added layers, and he was killing adults in 3. So you're like, oh shit. I mean, I guess he kind of was in 2 as well, with Mickey and Mrs. Loomis.
Miss Loomis.
Yeah, but I would say I would probably go 1, 3, 2, and 4. Let me get more specific about 4. Do you have a favorite part of 4, or a part that, like, if somebody said Scream 4, what part would probably come to mind first?
Well, it's a 2-parter because it's just, when they're in the classroom and they're doing the kind of like the spiel of how to survive a horror movie like they usually do, And he's like, if you want to survive, you gotta be gay. So then that translates to when the kid who's always had the headset on, he's about to get stabbed, and he's like, wait, I'm gay. I'm gay.
Wait, I'm gay.
I'm gay.
Dude,
So that just cracked me up.
I felt like that was like an archetype of characters. That could have been a young Ozark and Christian character in a movie. Like, if people didn't know us and they were to put us in a movie, like, that would probably our characters there.
Maybe, yeah.
Fitting so.
Mm-hmm. But
Yeah.
that was pretty funny to me.
Oh, dude, that was very funny. There were very funny moments. I liked the meta, like, outside of the horror movie, and they did it in Scream 3 as well. It was a big focus where Patrick Dempsey was talking about, like, which cop lives and dies in movies and shit. And I loved how the cops were just talking in the car, like Adam Brody and Anthony Anderson, and he's just like, nope. If your partner's more attractive than you, or if your last day before retiring, and it's like, that is kind of the movie trope, but motherfucker died.
Yeah.
And it was, I really thought that was funny though. I love those like duo characters. Anytime a funny duo is on screen, like they can carry a damn movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like you and I relate a lot with those duos, but like, I don't know if you remember the movie The Mask, like the 2 fucking cops in that, and he's like, onion rings? Like, fucking, like I love that, like, just 2 funny people together.
That or the 2 cops in Superbad.
Yep, Beverly Hills Cop, even.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it was a lobster sandwich, sir. Get it out of here.
You start dancing, I'll blow your brains out.
Might not be so angry if you didn't drink so much coffee. That dude just fucking died, by the way. I forget his name, but I love that actor. There were a lot of great dynamics there, and it's obviously really cool to have a director come back, the main actors come back, and Sidney Prescott, old Nev Campbell, she was very reluctant. She was one of the last people to step on, and which I'm appreciative of, and she has been in like the newer ones as well, but now she's out, but she was very apprehensive, and I was appreciative because it felt like she was being true to the trilogy. But man, she lives in a lot of our hearts, but like, I can't really describe like how often I watched those first 3 movies. They were just so close to my heart. And she's a badass. She's hot. Loved her in The Craft, but she's not dumb. I love when we have characters, because sometimes a dumb person wins, or like they're very flawed and they end up like overcoming their flaws to become the final girl. Never really the case with Sydney. Like, her boyfriend was fucked up, but like, that wasn't like her fault. Like, he kind of flipped the script. Like, she was cool the whole time. Always saved people, and she's always killed the killer. It's just like, I gotta give you credit. Like, you've done this shit multiple times. Like, you got multiple rings. Like, you know what I mean? Like she's fucking doing the thing. Man, women, it don't matter. Like, you're just fucking taking them all out, dude. And I appreciate that about her. And she's like, that's the girl you want your daughter to date. You know, that's the girl next door. Like, that's the, get her. Or like, go get him. You know, like, you're rooting for her. She's so hard to root against. Many final girls, lots of final girls. Not saying she's my favorite final girl. She's up there. She's like top 3. Just really hard to describe how likable and how palpable her character is to everyone. Because sometimes people, especially with the men characters, like superhero or the guy that you look up to in a movie, It's different for every guy. Like, it might be Clint Eastwood for me. That might not be it for you. You could be more of a, Bruce Willis in Die Hard. Or you could be another character. I feel like with women, they don't get that many in movies. And I feel like that's one of the coolest part about horror is, like, you do get these, like, awesome diamond in the rough characters. And it's like, if someone says Sidney Prescott, like, that lives in your head, like, in a badass term. Like, that's like, oh, yeah, she's like a champion. Like a Michael Jordan of horror. Like, I'd put her in any kind of situation. Like, I don't know if she's gonna beat monsters and shit, but I would accept her as my fighter. Like, hell yeah, dude. She's just smart. And it was cool to see her as it felt the story, even though there was supposed to be 3, 4 did work on a continuity level. It worked.
Yeah, it was very continuative, or whatever the word is I'm searching for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it kept the ball rolling in the right direction. The story made sense. After so many, though, it's like, what the fuck's going on in Woodsboro? Like, how many siblings and shit do these people have?
Like, why do you still live there?
Yeah, and like, why? How many siblings of people are there now? Like, what I mean?
I mean, you're killing all of them. They all die. How many?
Well, in the one, it was like Billy's daughter just pops up, like, oh yeah, we didn't know about her, and here she is, and then like he's coming back as like a ghost dad in the mirror, talking to her how to be a good killer. Like, it was the worst thing I've ever seen, Mark.
A ghost dad.
Dude, it was bad. Like, it was really bad.
Yeah, I mean, some things, man, you just gotta let go. Mm-hmm. You gotta let. There's a saying in production is you gotta learn how to kill your babies.
They're upstairs. I mean,
not. You know what I mean, though. Like, Scream is somebody's baby, and like it's like you gotta kill that shit. Like, let it go. Just let it be. Do something else.
Yep. I will say Scream 4 hit right at the perfect time frame where it did work. I want to talk about some of the other characters, even like Judy, the deputy. Like, even though she was a little bit annoying, and look, Gail, if you're going to be a bitch all the time, if you're just going to be a fucking bitch all the time, somebody's going to be baking your husband little goodies. Like, I'm here to tell you, bro.
She was thirsty for some Dewey, man.
Yeah, dude.
She wanted a Dewey shake, you know what I mean?
Dewey is such a funny, relatable character because they make him so dumb, but there is like, he does have like a baseline, like, all men, we can be tough in situations, and we do. I would say one thing that's great about us is our exterior, and like, we look a lot tougher than we are. Like, our face, like, we can read a situation like, wow, he's so stoic right now. In your brain, you could be freaking out. They have no idea because you look stoic, right? But Dewey, he just has this, like, whenever something happens, he's just like, oh no, we gotta go. Like, he just has this, like, like, and, like, you feel it. Like, he just has no shame in his game just to be, we gotta go. Like, you could see the dots being connected in his brain. He's not some, like, elusive Sherlock Holmes, like, I'm 10 steps ahead of the game. He's just like, we gotta get there. Like, you're like, yeah, dude. Like, and honestly, truthfully, I think that's how it would be. If, like, we're 3 cops here, like, we would figure shit out in that operation. Like, you're not gonna be that quick on it, all right? You're not the little Hardy Boys,
you're
like,
the fucking A-team.
Yeah,
you're
dude.
Not the boxcar children.
So you would find out like that. You'd be like, shit, dude. Like, we gotta go. And he's just really hard, not to, like, laugh at in a way where he's a dumb character. He's a lovable character, but he's just like that dude. If he worked at a hardware store, everyone would just love him. Like, oh, it's Dewey. Yeah, go down there, Dewey. He'll help you out. He just, hey, like, just a friendly dude that's just taking it as it comes at him. Like,
he shouldn't be a sheriff. Like,
he's just so. I mean, maybe in like a good way because he's got a good heart.
Yeah, like in a small town, he might work as a sheriff, but in a small town that has murders all the time, he ain't a good sheriff.
Like, I love that he's not afraid to scream or just be like, oh fuck, like, we gotta go. There's no stoicism to him. He's just always been that, like. And I don't know, maybe I feel guys of our generation can relate. Like, no matter how grown you feel, I mean, I'm in my 30s, you still feel like a kid somewhat. You're like, am I an adult?
Oh, men never grow up, dog.
Yeah, you're like, am I an adult?
Farts are still funny.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yep.
The word penis is always funny.
You can catch me with some good cartoons.
Anytime you're about to vandalize something with a pen, what's the first thing you draw?
Oh, well, there's a lot of things you could draw, but a dick is always funny.
Exactly. The dick is always the go-to. So, we never grow up.
Have you seen those man tests?
Yeah.
Those are
with the tongs and the drill and all that. Yeah.
Dude, those are so funny because, like, without thinking about it, like, it is true. Like, if I was like, pick up that ball, you would toss it, tongs, click, 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 drill. Zzz, zzz, zzz. There's no, like, you just do it. Like, does every man have just, like, slight, like, ADD? Like, where it's just, like, I have to...
The tape measure, open it and close it, dude.
Every time!
I know.
The bread bag, just spin it. Like, every time. Like, it's 5 for 5. Like, it would be every time.
I don't even think about it. But you just do it.
I found that so funny, and then, like, they're making the girls do it, and they're like...
What's this?
What do you want me to do?
What do I do with it?
I want to know, like, what the girl version is that, and like, because I would want to pick those things up too. Like, I would want to. I want to see both. Like,
yeah, I don't know if there is. I don't know what the girl
probably
version
hair
is.
ties or some shit. I don't know. There's got to be shit where it's like that.
Fuck, dude. We might have just given away the next big TikTok trend, but I don't know how to do it. So.
Yeah, it might have already happened. Like,
it probably has, but
I
didn't. It has to pop up eventually. Somebody will do it, but
just put like fajitas and Mexican food in a margout. Don't touch it.
I don't know what they do.
Can I have these chips at least?
Put a curling iron or something. I don't know what you guys do. I don't know, but
put a bunch of fun in the room and watch you drain it out. JK Rowling.
Just have a random man sitting there.
No.
Like, what do you do to this? Oh, let's give him a task while he's relaxing and enjoying himself. That's a good idea.
I've seen a couple of those where they're like, I'm gonna ask my man what his like I know what his favorite thing is to do, and I'm gonna say that I want to do it, and like she'll go up like, hey babe, I want to go out golfing with you right now. You want to go golf? And like every man looks at it like, what's going on here?
What? Yeah.
What's happening?
There's something fishy going on around here.
Like, and there was all kinds, like ones like restaurants and shit. Like, do you want to go do this thing? And they're all like, no one was like, hell yeah. Like everybody's like, wait a second, are you about to kill me? Is this my last meal? Like like you feel like you're in trouble. Every man's face is very funny. Like, am I in trouble?
Huh?
Like, that's very funny though.
Yeah. Well, Scream 4. Let's give it Let's give it a rating, shall we?
Sloppy horror rating, baby, yeah!
Yeah. Welcome to the one and only, one of a kind, world-renowned, world-famous, in Uranus Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. This is a heavily rated system on a horror movie scale, not a movie scale. In general, keep that in mind. Developed by your one and only host with the most, your scary movie companion, Mr. Christian Ramey, over there. And I'm over here to tell you what's going to happen here. It's a rating system based on 4 categories. 3 categories worth 3 points. Last category is worth 1 point for a total of
10 points altogether.
Correct. So let's get into the first category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is casting.
Yeah, baby, rating podcast horror sloppy.
Don't do that. That's my job. You already tried it once and you fucked it up. Just do your job.
If you hit that reverse, that was the theme song.
Reverse. Huh?
I did it in reverse.
What did?
I did the sloppy horror podcast rating, baby, yeah.
Do it again.
Yeah, baby, rating podcast horror sloppy.
All right, stop.
I did it in opposite order.
Talk about casting, damn it. Hurry up.
It's a very strong category. Got to give it a 3. We don't have casting like this always in horror movies. Got to give it credit. This is a blockbuster movie, and where it has its strengths, it has its strengths, and it also has continuity in the casting. People that exist. There's no really change of characters. 3.
Okay. It's 3 out of 10 so far here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's get into the second category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that's kills.
I'm feeling a 1.5 big time. Because they're not all made for TV kills. There are some over the top forehead stabbings, but there's some fun in them. Like in the brutal ones, there's some humor in them. There's a wide variety. There's over a dozen kills. I just truthfully, it's enough to be a scary movie. It's just middle of the road, in my personal opinion. Just middle of the road. So all throughout. It's just a lot of stabbings, cinematic stabbings, things like that.
Yep.
Some shootings.
Agreed. So that is 4.5 so far here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast ratings. Getting to the third, final 3-point category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is fear.
Here's where I'm really going to knock Scream 4. And Wes Craven, rest in peace, I love you. You know, I really do. But the meta was leaned in so hard in this fourth one where it eliminates any chance of fear. The first 3 were smart. They were cerebral, but it wasn't a joke. It wasn't like Scary Movie. And I do feel like 4 becomes like the audience is in on the joke. Like it's like the wrestlers are breaking kayfabe. Like it's like there's this level of you're behind the curtain now. And I don't know. I just don't think you're along the ride for fear. You just want to know who it is, and you're trying to be the smartest horror movie watcher who knows the ending. And I do think the first 3 fucking amped up some fear. Now, they were smart, and they were fun. And I'm not saying everyone was terrified of them, but I think 4 really lacks in that. Like, I don't know if anybody's afraid of this movie. Like, I truthfully feel like half a point. Like, kids know about Ghostface. Mm-hmm. And this movie's so funny throughout of it. Like, I really feel like it's a half a point on fear. It's the weakest category.
Okay. That is 5 out of 10 so far here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast ratings. Getting to the final 1-point category for half a point each here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is rewatchability.
Yeah, it's rewatchable. And that's coming from me, the trilogy purist. This is the only one of the new ones that like I really accept because it was kind of in the middle of the newer ones and the trilogy. So it's like kind of like a standalone in a weird way. Yeah, I can rewatch it. I don't hate it. I like a lot of the actors in it. A little bit of it pisses me off, but a little bit of it makes me real happy. So it's it's rewatchable to me.
Yep. I mean, it's a fun movie. Like you said, the audience is in on the joke. This makes it a lot of fun, especially if you're watching it with a bunch of people. You're at a party or Halloween, especially around Halloween time. This is the outside projector movie with your teenage kids around the pool or some shit. You know, whatever the fuck you're doing on Halloween. I don't know, but it's just fun. Everybody, there's a lot of homages in it. There's a lot of comfort in this type of movie. So
definitely a FUBU. You were right.
This is definitely a very much rewatchable movie, almost the pure definition of it. So
yep,
it's always fun with that. So that would be
6. Pick up sticks.
Out of 10 for Scream 4 here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast, right back up in your ass.
I want sloppy more.
You want some more sloppy in your poopy? We're getting it to you. We're going to jam it right up in there like an old battery that won't work.
Get it in there.
Yeah. So there you go.
That's a pretty solid score. So if you guys thought I was going to trash it, I'm still going to rate it fairly.
It's a fair rating for what it is, sir, I believe. That's the whole reason it's the world-renowned, one-of-a-kind, world-famous.
No. Guys, we need your help. I'm not fucking around. I need your help with these subscriptions to the channel that are $0 to you, and they help our channel out massively. Guys, it's Halloween time. You're telling me that it's the spooky time where you're going to be talking to folks about horror movies. Spread some love to your boys. Help be a part of a growing show. And also, get these fucking Road to Halloween t-shirts to let people know. So, and if you do, post this shit on Instagram, all right? And then we do have a challenge. Like, if you go out and beat up a homeless person and post it, we'll give you a free shirt. Just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. I just wanted to catch you off guard while you guys are driving,
Give them a bottle of Rumplemans.
Oh, fuck, dude. That's that alcohol that fucked me.
Dude,
I will never drink that.
It's the worst.
At a Van Halen concert,
alcohol in the world.
Dude, that Van Halen night with our buddy Joe, that was the drunkest I've ever been, and I've never drank like that since.
Don't.
Oh, my God, dude. Yeah, that was not good. That Rumplemans ain't no joke.
Don't drink that.
Rumpelstiltskin?
No, I'll try.
Rumpelstiltskin's a good man.
Now, I will try some Yoo-Hoo and rum. I
haven't tried it.
Yeah, Rumpelstiltskin. That's
Rumpelstiltskin's a good man.
That's what I'm gonna call that drink now. Yoo-Hoo and rum. It's a Rumpelstiltskin, and you have to say once you're fucked up on it, The whole joke is you gotta say Rumpelstiltskin's a good man.
We're about to tag our buddy Yoo-Hoo, dude. I love that guy. Speaking of which, Yoo-Hoo, dude, if you didn't know, Scream 4 was filmed in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Go Blue. That's kind of cool. That's Michigan campus area. Like, that's the specific town area. Like, that's kind of cool.
Good for you.
So, hell yeah. Yoo-Hoo, rum, Ann Arbor, sloppy whore t-shirts, homeless people. Man, what a fun time to be alive. So, guys, help be a part of something fun. Let us know if you're rocking these shirts. If you bought shirts previously, post them. Let us know. You know, I want to... We are getting better each and every day and each and every week. But you have to understand, this is a two-man operation here. All right, this is a two-man operation. And we, I would say we operate pretty safe and sound, man. We do it pretty well. But we're always growing, always looking to progress, and we can't do it without you guys. So all the loyal people out here week after week, we fucking see you guys, okay? So from the new merch to the new Patreon episodes to all this shit, we're just trying to pay it forward. We love you guys so much, and there's lots of ways that you can help a growing channel, and once it's reached its peak, you guys can say that you was there, you was a part of it. You're like, you little new bitches ain't even on this sloppy whore 24.
That's right. You're on the Price is Right mountain climb with us.
Yep.
We're yolling up the mountain.
Some of those games live in your head, like Plinko or that wheel. I just want to spin that wheel for the one time.
Oh, yeah.
And the Wheel of Fortune wheel. I just want to do it once.
Yes.
I think every American, every human has that right, should have that right.
I've always wanted to make the putt on Price is Right.
Yeah, and the Bozo Cups.
Yes.
I feel like there needs to be a museum where you could go to where they collect all of these things and you can go through it. Like, I want to do the double dare, you know, the challenge,
They
like the physical
need
challenge.
to make a museum like that. We can go, yes, absolutely.
It's copyrighted. Y'all steal our idea.
I swear to God.
Yeah, that's ours. That's the sloppy horror.
That's amazing.
Game show museum.
That is amazing idea. Okay? And all we need to do is put it in an up-and-coming hipster area, put a bar in it, and then fucking put all those games in there. That's it. That's all you need to do. And make
and
sure.
I want Bozo.
And make sure we have dangling awful lights and no ceiling, and then we will be in fucking business, my friend. That's a fantastic idea.
I want like a knockoff Pat Sajak, like a knockoff Bozo. Like, I want all these people in there.
Just slightly off.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Just Pennywise. Like,
It's like
they're supposed to be Bozo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all he had was Pennywise, so we let him.
It's Pozo. Okay?
Yeah.
What's next up here on the docket? I forget.
I do kind of too, dude. So let me look real quickly.
What's the next stop on the road? We gotta go to a rest stop and then get on the road again.
Running up that hill.
Stop. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. They couldn't have picked a more fucking annoying song.
I know.
Like, you realize when you put a song like that in a thing like that, it's gonna blow up. Why couldn't you put a fucking good song in there? That's just me. That's just my opinion.
Not fuck their faces.
How long does it take you to find this information?
Oh, I found it. I was just singing. So, I want you guys to really, really, really think about character names. Now, I'm not going to give you guys... This isn't going to be some bullshit. Like, you guys, I'm not going to give you the episode, all right? This is for my smarty pants out there. I'm going to give you character names in the movie.
Okay.
Aaron. Aaron. No, I'm just kidding. It's with an E. Aaron. Pepper. Kemper. Andy. Morgan. And Leatherface.
Well, the last one was kind of the dead giveaway, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. I tricked him.
You shouldn't have done the last. You shouldn't have done the last one. Would have been a lot more suspenseful. But obviously, we know what that is now. So, look forward to that. Make sure you peel some skin. You get some gas at the gas station. Don't overfill it.
Jessica Biel in a white beater and a freezer, dude.
Yeah.
That's in my week.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So make sure you re-up on lotion and tissues. And then don't use toilet paper because it's a messy.
Oh, yeah. It turns into like a paper mache.
No, you'll leave evidence if you do that. So make sure you get that prepared
Comes
for
a
yourself.
sculpture.
So do that, and then we will be back next week to reopen your anuses with more entertainment here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast.
Mister, why's your wiener got a cast on? You really could make one.
Stop.
You got bored with
That's
water.
it. Stop talking. It's over.